Hey guys, Major Dodo here with another Kingdom Death assembly. It just arrived today, my 1.5 updated box. Finally, weeks after everyone else has been uploading their assemblies and their paintings, but what are you going to do? It's the joys of living in Australia. So, I have here the Gold Smoke Knight. Yes. Yes. Isn't it exciting? Plastic Gold Smoke Knight. So I have looked at the miniature on the frame. I've kind of tried to guess a bit. Otherwise, I'm as fresh to this as you are. This is going to be fun. So first off, if you are new, we'll go through some of the tools you might need. This is my much bedraggled pair of Citadel fine cutters. Any cutters will do really, as long as the blade is sharp, as long as it is a relatively fine detail one. In this case, I've just had these for a while, so. Also got hobby knife, plenty detail. Pair of files, just Citadel ones as well, just what I had lying around. These are more finishing files I found rather than general use ones, so this is what I'll be using them for. And then I've also got, dropped on the floor, emery paper. Now, I have been meaning to use this for a while. Been meaning to show you guys for a while. Couldn't find mine, so I've bought a new pack. As you can see, $7 Australian. This is the ultra fine set, which means it has 3 different grades of paper in it. So it's like, well, it tells you at the top. So there's 5 sheets of paper. This stuff's great. You just cut, strip off that you want, wrap it around something. Makes it easy to hold, bits of cork, things like that. And if you're using cork, you can just put a thumbtack through it to hold it in place and use it like sandpaper. And finally, to put them together, I've got, as usual, my 2 staples, normal Tamiya cement, and extra thin. Now, you can see the difference before. I've shown the viscosity of between the two of them. This is great for very fine parts where you don't want to have seepage. When you press the 2 parts together, you don't want anything coming out. And the other one is this one, which is my general use one. It's my favorite. I like the brush applicator. Any plastic cement will do. And if you are worried about having to pull things apart later, you can use super glue. In which case, just any super glue you want, your favorite. Cheaper ones generally don't bond as well, but then that could be what you're looking for. I know some people have used super glue on their armor kits to snap things apart a bit easier with the help of a freezer, but alright, let's get started. So I'll snap the base off because it's a big area. We'll just get this out of the road. This looks awesome. When I saw this base, I was blown away. This was fantastic. I was super keen. This guy looks super creepy, super Monty. Now, if you're not familiar with Kingdom Death bases, they go together like this. There's a bottom part and a middle part. I generally keep the bottom part separate because I'll usually just spray paint it black. So it's easier to just do that than trying to brush paint around the model. So we'll put those aside. Now, the fun part. Let the fun begin. So, I think I'm going to start with the legs. Now, both of these legs have pegs on the bottom of them. Don't snip those off. Those correspond with spots on the model itself. There's one there. I can't see the other one. I presume it's somewhere on here. We'll find it. For now, we'll avoid clipping them off anyway. We've got one at the knee, one up here. Now, the Gold Smoke Knight is the new final boss. I won't go into it too much. I don't know too much about it, to be honest, either. I just know that he has replaced the Watcher, as they've added kind of an extension to the main campaign now, where once you've killed the Watcher, you can continue on for a bit longer. So with those, we'll get the chest plate here. Not many small fiddly bits on this sprue, thankfully. Now the other decision is, I think we're gonna need this. It's a bit awkward because I'm not sure. As I said, I haven't put this together before. I'm not sure how the torso goes together in relation to the arms, whether or not the arms need to be put in now or what the deal's going to be. So I'll probably get most of these parts out now, and we'll just kind of dry fit them as we go along, and then the smaller parts we'll leave till later. So we're just kind of keep them on the sprue so it's easy to keep track of them. So we'll grab the other arm. Now there's a lot of smoke sections which I believe are going to come off the base. There's a lot of like a lot of sections in the base where it looks like they're going to sit in. So again, we'll leave them off for now, and then the head of the hammer, which is these two pieces, I'm going to leave them on as well. We've got his head there. Otherwise, and shoulder pad, those would go on last. I don't see them needing anything special. I'm just going to lay looking. Looks like it's going to fit somewhere around there. Alright, so I'm going to use my knife. I tend to use my knife for everything. Some people, mold line clearance, the whole shebang. So for this, I'm going to zoom in a small amount. So the first off with any miniature, it doesn't matter whether it's plastic, it's resin, it's metal, it's some newfangled futuristic component. You pretty much got to check for mold lines. It's just a fact of life. So in this case, there's one going down the back of his calves. I'm just going to lightly scrape it with a knife. You want a nice sharp knife. Means that it goes faster, doesn't have to work as much, and will leave a much cleaner result. Sure enough, there's another one on the corresponding side. Generally, if you see a mold line on one side, you're going to see it on the other side. Because mold lines are just what happens. Sometimes it's called by a mold slip, although the bigger areas bigger ones you immediately know are a mold slip. Other times it's just the kind of the seepage between the two halves of the molds, because it's never a perfect seal. Just clear off the bottom of this peg. Alright, that's clear. Otherwise it's not too bad, thankfully. I'm going to clear off this bit of flash up the top. Oh, here we go. There's a part here on the thigh. Just get in there. Clear out. The other thing I should mention that I've gotten, and this one is entirely optional, is I do keep a large, relatively soft brush like this, and little bits of plastic and stuff that might still be clean to the model. Just give it a quick brush over and cleans them up. Freeze things up. It's especially useful when you're working with resin miniatures, as that can leave a bit of a powder. But I think we're set for the moment for one leg. So put that aside. Grab the other leg. Does look at kind of like So I'm trying to, like, as I put these together, I'm looking at things, trying to sort out how are they going to go together. So it does seem like that's going to be the case, like that. So this piece. Alright, so unfortunately they've put their sprue mark there. That's where the sprue was attached. I much prefer companies that hide them in the sprue joints, like where the parts are going to join together. But often that's not possible, and it can also depend on how well the producer, like the actual manufacturer, cut apart the models to make sure they can be, because obviously you can't, when you're distributing them across the sprue, you need to maximize both your space and positioning and everything, because it saves you a lot of empty space on the sprue, which means smaller packaging, there's less plastic wasted. There's a lot of reasons. It's not a big deal though, thankfully. But sometimes when I've gotten models where the sprue was attached to like the top of a head where there's this finely detailed hair, but then right, you know, so this is the head, there's all this finely detailed hair, then right at the top is this dirty great big peg where it was attached to the sprue. And so you pretty much have to go back and sculpt hair in again. It's unfortunate. I had that with the Ammo Slave. I've had that with a few models where they've just very... I don't understand what the logic is with that. It's got to be a better place to put your sprue connections. All right. Another bit here. If it's a great big, if it's a thicker gate, don't force it. Don't sit there and try and cut through it all at once. You can just cut smaller parts away and just gently smooth it down. It'll help avoid getting any cutting away any extra bits of sprue. Just focusing in here. Can't wait. Cannot wait to work on this guy. It's a very cool model. I've got some Dark Star molten metals sitting next to me that I'm itching to try out. Some bright golds. If you've been watching the stream, you'll have seen some of the variety of color that I've got and that I've been using. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that with these, maybe some of the inks as well. Still not sure how overall I'm going to paint him. Just that I know that I want to use the true metallics and just make him look amazing. I've never been a big fan of non-metallic metal. To be honest, I think it's a bit of an elitist thing. I think it's a good technique to learn, to become good at, but I'm not a fan of the effect as it is. But it's become kind of a, well, it's an elitist thing, a status thing, and it's, you know, if you're entering into a painting competition, sorry about that. If you're entering into a painting competition, it's like expected nowadays. Oh, you gotta have non-metallic metals. You gotta have this, even though like non-metallic metals, they tend to photograph very well, but when actually viewed in person, they don't look as nice from multiple angles. So anyway, they yeah, not a huge fan, but the techniques you're using at the glazing and stuff, very very good to learn. So it's definitely something I'm going to be learning one day. I'm going to stop and like practice, just because it does require a much better control of your glazes and stuff to get a very nice effect. For those of you that are wondering what I'm talking about, I know I've mentioned the term before to an engineer and he just kind of stared at me. Non-metallic metals is the art of painting a piece to resemble metal without actually using metallic pigmented paint. So, for instance, to paint steel armor or a steel sword, you would use greys and whites, you know, dark grey to light grey, and the end effect would make it resemble a steel sword without actually using something like, say, lead belcher or, you know, any of the other metallic pigmented paints that are available on the market. Oh, this is what I get for recording straight after lunch. But we're just cleaning up more mold lines up on his staff. Now, as I was showing before, dry fitting, do it. Don't ever glue something together unless you've dry fitted it. You just always end up regretting it. If you can even like dry fit as much of the model as you can together before gluing anything. When I was doing the Lonely Tree, oh god, the Lonely Tree. Now there was a fun nightmare. I think I spent ages dry fitting just because there's so many different parts that had to interlock. You need a test. Right, so we have our pieces. No, I guess we might as well do the base before we start this. Just get off the cut marks on here. Kind of see a mold line going along. Now, this kind of base you could probably do as a single part mold, but I'm pretty sure they've done it as a 2-part, because all in here, yeah, if you're doing resin, this would be a single section, this would just be a single part. But with the plastic tooling, it enables you to leave big empty areas of this, which saves you both weight and whatever your materials are, be it plastic or resin. Now we can actually fill this cavity in, and I may do that just because it'll add weight to the model. It means it'll be less likely to less likely to knock over, less likely to, yeah. Oh, it's just shocking. Alrighty, let's clean. Let's clean. Let's see if we can figure out how this guy goes together. So we did dry fit before. And this seems to go like that. Holding there. No like pegs or anything. We'll try the other side. So it does look like the arm will alright, you're the no. Left arm, right arm. No. Which way is he holding it? Oh, he holds it across his body. I'm just like... So that meets up under there. And there must be some piece. We'll see, but it does look like we can get away with... Where's the other arm? I always lose track of everything when I'm putting things together. Alright, so that's definitely this side, and then it'll go on there. Cool. So I'm gonna get my tummy cement out. Now my bottle's almost run out, so I have to like tip it up like this. Local hobby store unfortunately is running low. They didn't have any when I went shopping last, so kind of keeping an eye out for that. So just gotta try to do the best, because it's much easier if it's running low to just you know, buy another bottle, use it a bit, and then pour the rest of this into there. Yeah, it's not gonna go off. So I'm gonna apply a little bit to both parts of the model. Plastic cement melts, if you're not familiar, plastic cement melts plastic. So it's a form of welding in a way. It will melt the it'll melt the material and then allow the two pieces to bond as it dries, and the areas kind of go together. But because of that, you really don't want to get it on other parts of the model, because it's not just going to be a case of, you know, peeling it off later. It's actually going to melt the surface of the plastic. So we're trying to line this up as best as possible. Hold it together. Now a little bit of seepage is not too bad, because it'll fill in the gap. You won't have as much of a noticeable line. You kind of just want to get things neat and tidy. Now we do have one more piece, which will go in like this, showing it at the back. Just kind of there's a peg as well, I should mention, and drop the piece again. I'm shocking with dropping things. This is why we don't have a dropped counter on the stream. There is a small peg here, matching hole here, that will line up as well, and we'll kind of guide it all to stick together nicely and keep things nice and straight. I'm just gonna run some plastic glue on the inside edge of this, where the two surfaces are going to meet, and I'm going to run a little bit, almost need 3 hands, run some in here, and I'm going to get our other piece, Put a bit of glue on here. And we're just going to hit in here where it's going to meet. Get over this thing. And this will start the melting process on both surfaces. Just avoid, obviously, any detail. Cool. That's done. Now we're going to add in our second leg. Making sure it lines up together at the back. We want to press this in tight, and this will avoid any large lines. So like here, you want to press it in so then it seeps up and gives a really tight fit. So that's the front of the knight done, our Potbelly King. Now, from what I can tell, the cloak goes something like this. It's gonna, there are small bumps on the back here. You want to line these up. Here we go. So there. So I'm thinking we're going to want to put this on first, but before I do that, as I said, dry fit your parts. Make sure you know what is going where. So I've already realized that we're missing what the head is going to attach to. And there must also be flames here. So before we do any more, I'm going to go back and find out the rest of the parts that we're going to need for this. So knee pads. I thought these were elbow pads, but they're knee pads. So this piece here. And then we're going to find the other one here, which is next to this head. The hammerhead and right near the actual model head. And so looking at it, I'm going to guess that some of these flame pieces are actually going to go together and they're going to go inside. I'm going to guess it's this piece and maybe this piece are going to come together. If you look on the back side, you can always look for guides. So like there, that's it. These two pieces, and his head will probably sit in the middle of those, which I think is really cool. So God knows when I'll actually get to fight this guy, as I'm yet to get a campaign past the first few Lantern years. I think the furthest I've gotten is to the hand. And so we'll leave these other bits on the sprue for the moment. So I'm still not sure what goes on here. Some more fur. Doesn't look like this arm goes backwards. Unless there's more of this flame that goes. I checked the other sprues that came in the box. Okay, so this goes together. And then the head is more like a mask. That's cool. That is very cool. But then what goes there? Is it more fire? Neither of those pieces of fire do anything. I'm very confused. Not that that's hard. Maybe it's supposed to go back? No. That's gotta be the right way. But if that's the case, it's got to be fit somewhere. So this is, I always picture the Gold Smoke Knight from in my head when I was trying to remember the artwork and stuff. I always thought he was dragging the hammer behind him, but that won't make any sense either. So Again, just dry fit, dry fit, dry fit. Puzzle it out before you put any glue down. Here we go. So I was right. So the hammer goes in behind and it connects to the cloak at the back, which is a bit hard for you to see at the moment from the way I'm holding it. I'll try and spin it around. So hold the cloak there. Oh. Make sure things line up. There. Hold that firmly. So it does go behind itself and lines up there. Like so. The this area lines up with this area. Which is one mystery solved. The next mystery, of course, is we know how this goes together. These two pieces. We need to make sure that they just kind of, well, tell you what. Let's clean this up and glue this together and then we'll dry fit it. I'm pretty sure we can just put the back of the cloak on and this will drop in between them. But as I said, just always double check. You don't want to just be like, oh yeah, this will be fine. This will be fine. Just chuck this in. And then find out that you're frantically pulling the pieces apart, trying to pull them apart because you've missed something or just something's not set right. It's happened to me many a time, especially if I was doing stuff in bulk or of just rushing things. It's happened on recording. It's got to have happened on recording. Alright. Glue there. Glue up along here. We'll do both pieces. Sometimes I don't bother if I put a little bit of extra glue on, or it's not a load bearing piece, where it's just, I know it's going to naturally just sit together smoothly and I'll have plenty of time. Putting glue on both halves just gets the ball rolling and it makes things stick together a bit quicker and a bit more solid. Oh, this is funny, trying to get the glue out of this. Alright. Tell you what, second the glue's back in stock. I think they ordered like 36. Alright, so that's glued together, so we will hold our cloak together. So I'm going through all this trouble because some pieces, and some companies especially, things have to go in specific orders to fit properly. So this looks almost like it's going to have to... No, it's not going to go in that deep. So if this sits in like that, how is this going to sit in? How is this face supposed to look? Dare say it's not supposed to just sit on top. Looks like it's supposed to press in like this, very tight. So means we can get away with gluing this together. So to do that, as before, go along the back, get plenty of glue on. The same in here, especially these contact points. Probably the most important spot to get them. Alrighty then. Press it in tight. Now with this yeah, we definitely want to leave this off until after we've put this centerpiece in, as there's a ledge it's going to want to go across. Oh. While that dries though, we're going to look at these knee pads, see which way the smoke blows. Looks like I am the most uncoordinated person with miniatures sometimes. It's like the worst person to do guides is doing the guides. Just drop stuff all the time. Look at the other one, and the other one's gonna waft up like that. Okay, so I'm gonna clean the knee pads, get them sorted. Luckily, as you saw, there was only a little, like, we only had small cut marks on this, which is good. And since it's smoke, it's not going to be that noticeable. It's going to be interesting painting smoke like this. I've done some smoke effects before, but never, like, direct from fire smoke. It's normally, like, green smoke or something weird, where it's not the same kind of, not that natural look. So we'll see how we go with this. So you basically want to get it so that the smoke is like that. Press the knee pad on. We'll get the other one as well. It doesn't really matter where you put the glue for these. As I said, these parts sit in fairly snugly, so I'm just gonna put it on one half. I'm also, as I do this, trying to decide whether to paint this assembled or leave parts off, but I think gonna just, and it's for my collection, this one, so I think I'll just do it assembled. It all kind of sits together very, like, specifically. So we'll do this next. The arm. This has got to meet up. With the back. So for this, definitely want plenty of super glue. Even if you do have to go back later and do a fair bit of kind of cleaning up, definitely want to make sure you've got a quiet and easy surface with a lot of glue to bond. Don't go crazy, but don't be skimpy, because it doesn't look like it's got a proper anchor. I'm trying to figure out whether it's supposed to be a fur coat or what. I'll have to look at the artwork again. I was tempted to paint it. It does look like it's a fur coat for some reason. I kind of want to paint it as cascading flames, but I don't think it's sculpted in a way that makes that, yeah, that would make that look cool. I think it just could look like it look kind of funny. So just making all the surfaces moist. And we're going to make things line up. So that goes there. Arm goes in there. Cloak. Make sure, as I said, you want to make sure it's neat and lining up as smoothly as you can. As it'll reduce your workload later. And just kind of hold it. Now I'm going to go back with green stuff, obviously. Here and here. It's not the best lineup. And you can mitigate that somewhat by being more patient and sitting there and holding them in place. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to go back and green stuff it. We are nearing the end of the road. We've got our fiery piece here, which will go in. Hold this in place, and that will hold it. Yep. Cool. So for this, I'm definitely going to grease the wheels. And this part, you don't really have to worry about going overboard, as even if it seeps up, it's going to be hidden. So, funnily enough, I am. It's going to go bunch on there. Bunch on there. Finally, we need a bit kind of like inside here. Cool. Press it in. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna grab the arm. Hit all of in here. Now some of these parts, as I said, luckily nothing was fine detail enough I had to use the green one. But if you're ever finding an area that you think might be hard to reach, or you're really worried about seepage, you can use the green stuff. The other thing I've done is I've used the brush in the green bottle is a much smaller and finer brush than the white one. So I've actually taken that and just used it with the white glue. Don't think you're really supposed to, but it doesn't seem to have hurt it. It's all plastic cement, it's just at different consistencies. Viscosities, whichever is the most accurate word. Now we want to make this meet up at the back. Now it's time to play silly buggers and just kind of like get stuff to meet up as well as possible. It's kind of a bit rough. They don't have the best mold design for their plastic, so we're going to have to green stuff quite a few things. A little bit of green stuff there. Thinking maybe a little bit of green stuff in there and around here. Not a horrendous amount. I've had much worse, but still. In fact, I might pull this apart again, and we're going to put a metric shite ton, kind of more glue down here. Almost a crazy amount extra. And that should help with this fur line. Get it to seep up a bit. Right, let's clean up the mask while that sets. Looks like it's just that little mark there. They've even got little flames sculpted coming out of his hair, his face, which is cool. So that's almost the dude done. Then we just have his base. So, oh. So the next question is, how does he sit on this base? Maybe only one of these pegs is supposed to be on. So I found it weird that they gave me 2 pegs, but only one, because it feels like that is definitely where his foot's supposed to be. Standing at the front of the base. In which case this whole peg on this foot needs to be cut off. Looks like that's how that's supposed to go. Cool. In the meantime though, we're going to get the rest of the stuff done. So we do have the head of the mace and the flames coming out of the base. So I'm going to clip those off. Now, at least for the update kit, I'm going to presume it's the same with the 1.5 core box. Don't know, I only got the update kit. Rest of the sprue, now don't throw these away. Unless you already have a stack of them sitting there waiting in the wings, always keep at least 1 or 2 pieces of these around. I use them all the time. For instance, when I was priming this guy, because he was blue tacked, because he gets put on a specifically sculpted base but it's not level, I actually super glued him to this. This lets me get in under the cloak and all of this before I attach him to his base. So it's always useful to have a bit of sprue lying around. Now the flames, so if we know that it's facing this way, there's mainly 2. So there'll be this part here where it's going to go in, and then I think there'll be this part here. So there's only going to be 2 kind of small areas for the flame to come out. Now I'm not going to glue him to his base today, especially since we've got that peg that's going to hold him in place, which is excellent. We can actually keep him separate from the base while we work on the base. And the miniature. To make life much easier. I am tempted to magnetize him though, but I don't think I will, because I don't see myself ever needing him to take him off his base once he's finished. Now the mace head, if you're wondering, it looks like it's really simple. It's just going to go either side of the square peg on the actual handle, at the end of the handle. Which is kind of cool, because you can, if you don't like the lion head look, you could probably make your own, get something third party, do what you want with it. You can make it into a dirty big morning star if you want. It looks like this thing was supposed to not just be like a normal mace head, but also contain coals and stuff from all the little holes. They didn't really, it doesn't really convey that in the sculpt. So if I was So I think we're going to have to blue tack. Let's test it. Does look like I'm going to have to carve down this peg. Oh no, does fit. Oh yeah, there's a dent. There's an actual dent on the skeleton's chin where the bottom of this hammerhead is going to sit. So we'll glue this together and you'll see. I'll clip this. Put a bit in here. Now I'm going to get the other half. Oop. Set him like this for the moment. Get the other half. Some glue on. Now if you do a little bit extra, there's more of a risk of getting messy, but it's going to seep up and help seal the mold lines. Oh, the seam lines for this, sorry. Not mold lines, seam lines. So you'll see now when I put this into place that the hammerhead is gonna yeah, it was definitely the way I had it. It's just this peg doesn't go down as deep as them. There we go. So you can see now the it rests in that depression there. We do have quite a few seams and stuff we'll have to patch up. I will try and cover those when we do the painting video for this guy, as I will most likely paint him up. I don't know whether I'll paint him up as an offline Patreon guide or as an or did we clip both of these? No, we didn't. We missed this bit. Don't know whether I'll do it as a offline Patreon guide or whether we'll do it as a live recording on the stream. Oop. Oh, thank God. That would have been a great kind of end to the recording. 15 minutes of me crawling on my hands and knees trying to find a single piece. Alright, so we've got this part. I'm just going to pull this guy off here. He's done, he's assembled. So last two bits, fire going in here. Try and get you guys so you can see like that. Now these gaps are all kind of one way, so there's not really, you know, if it fits, it should fit perfectly. You shouldn't have an issue. So just wiggle things around until it kind of sits how it should sit. So this will go like this way. They're kind of like slugs or something when they're not painted. I don't even know what we're going to do with the base. I'm going to paint it like it looks kind of like an actual monster maybe, but I don't know what's going on with these depressions for its eyes. God, now how did I just sit it? There we go, like this. I'd be very curious to see if anyone else has painted up the plot, although it's only just been out for a while, see if anyone's done any early paint jobs of him. There you go, so there's his base. There he is, sitting on his base, and then of course, as I said, I keep this separate, but he will go like that when he's finished. There you go. Gold Smoke Knight by Kingdom Death. I'll put a link in the description to the tools I've used and a link to... I'll see if I can find the product. I don't think they're not selling them separately in plastic, so I'll see if I can find a link to maybe the defunct store page or something for him so you can at least see some of the color artwork for him. Thank you for watching. Some more guides coming. We've got 2 more sprues to go from the update pack, which is the Old Survivor and the Young Survivor. Very keen to do those. Crazy old dude. Looks crazy and old. Looks awesome. Keen to do that. Make sure you check subscribe and keep an eye out for more videos coming out. Also check out the Twitch. Should be in the description. I stream painting live. Do a lot of commission work. Helps me keep motivated. So I often do bits and bobs on there. So, and I'm even worse stuttering on there than I am on here. It's just life. We have fun, we have a chat. So please check it out. You guys have a good day. I hope this helps you sorting out your guy. So there you go. Enjoy. Ah, wrong one.